Thank you for inviting me to present today to kick off your Preparedness series. My presentation is going to focus on lessons learned from FEMA's recent hurricane forums and how to ensure your business is involved in long-term recovery initiatives. These findings are based on the 2017 hurricane season FEMA After Action Report and conversations I have had with representatives of the Emergency Support Function and the Economic Recovery Support Function. On August 25, 2017, Hurricane Harvey made landfall in Texas as a Category 4 storm. For several days, the storm hovered near the Houston metropolitan area and set a record for the most rainfall from a U.S. tropical cyclone. If your switchboard looks like this, you are in trouble. The best solution for a power outage is to have a generator that is maintained and regularly tested. If this is not practical for your business, you can approach local hire companies to find out the costs of hiring a generator and how it would connect to your building. It would be sensible to test the connection to ensure it will actually work when required, keeping in mind that generators will be in high demand during a prolonged power outage. An organisation I was working for recently had this dilemma. A critical department had moved from a generator-supported building to a building that required a hire generator. It was decided that the risk was too great and a permanent generator was connected to the building and tested. The next week there was a power cut and the second building was able to continue working as usual. Working from home is the cheapest solution, but you should keep in mind the following considerations. How far do your staff live from the office? Will their homes have power? Do your staff have laptops or desktop computers? Do your staff take their laptops home each evening or outside during a fire drill? How often do your staff work from home in normal circumstances? Have they tested the functionality recently? And finally, what is the capacity of your remote connection? Will it handle all of your employees dialing in from home, or will that overload the system? ICT should be backed up securely to the cloud. However, you should also be keeping a local backup. It is important that you test your data backups regularly. Don't just assume that it is working correctly. If you don't already have one in place, consider creating a manual system to fall back on while your backups are being restored, potentially onto new hardware. If your business uses specialized equipment that is difficult to procure, it would be sensible to purchase a backup and, if possible, run this from an alternative location. Of households impacted by Hurricane Harvey, 80% did not have flood insurance. FEMA recommends all hazard insurance so individuals can reduce their losses and speed their recovery. It is important to recognize that resilience doesn't stand in isolation. Businesses operate within an ecosystem with other businesses. Strengthening community resilience requires pooling and utilizing existing resources and capacities and using these to the full. Collaboration is a prerequisite for the effective use of resources. This means you should speak to your neighbours. If you're working in a shared building or business park, it is important that you speak to each other. Include their details in your communication plan so you can join forces following a disruption and help each other. Consider approaching a larger business for mentoring and discuss their business continuity management strategy. An example of this occurred during Hurricane Maria, where a rum factory had stockpiled water to continue producing their rum. However, the local communities did not have clean drinking water. Due to their natural compassion and inclination to avoid a PR disaster, they gave the water to the community and stopped production of their product. This illustrates that a business cannot carry on in isolation from the community. Another example from Texas is where Texans took to their boats and rescued fellow residents who were stranded by rising floodwaters. FEMA is establishing working groups to help coordinate resources available during a crisis. The idea of these groups is to build stronger relationships with critical private sector partners to support rapid restoration in response to catastrophic incidents. Following Hurricane Maria, there were examples of airlines and freight companies who had resources to help but did not know who to contact to offer their services. Where possible, continuity professionals should participate in these groups to ensure they know who to contact during a crisis if they have resources available to help. Following an emergency, you need to be able to contact your staff to establish their safety and potentially check on their availability. Having an emergency notification system allows you to send out a mass text and easily report on the responses. Do you have an emergency notification system or any way of contacting the staff at your company? One company I spoke to recently had a city centre office that suffered a power cut. Because they didn't have an emergency notification system or alternative plan in place, they had no way of notifying their staff to stay home or go to an alternative location. Most systems will also store your business continuity plans and make them available offline. If there is no internet or mobile network, you need an alternative option. This could be visiting each employee door to door. In Puerto Rico, health brigades of local volunteers knocked on doors to identify and assist those who could not leave. Larger organizations may decide to invest in satellite phones. If this is the case, you need to ensure staff are regularly trained to use the unfamiliar technology. Discuss with your communications provider how to prioritize and preserve fragile contingency systems. If there is no power, you will need access to cash to make purchases. Have a think about how much petty cash you keep on site. Would it be enough? If you operate a small business selling goods to the public, this is where having a generator would really help. In some instances, following Hurricane Maria, major credit card companies provided generators to local stores to ensure continuity of credit card transactions. First of all, think about your current premises. Does it meet modern building codes? When was the last time it was inspected by an engineer? If necessary, you should consider upgrading or relocating premises. Following the devastating earthquakes in Christchurch, New Zealand, many buildings were reassessed and given a percentage score of how they rated against the modern building code. The organisation I was working for decided that their current building's rating was too low and they moved to a safer building. If you don't understand how safe your building is, you can't make an informed decision. Your fallback site should be in a different location, and in the immediate aftermath of an event, you should consider using alternative staff. Following Hurricane Maria, some companies expressed regret that they had expected staff to continue working instead of sending in fresh staff from unaffected areas. In the long term, it is likely that these staff will want to get back to work and into a routine, but in the initial recovery stage following a disaster, they will rightly be more focused on their families. Following a crisis, you should hold an internal debrief. However, you should also make an effort to attend community debriefs arranged by FEMA to learn and contribute to the improvement of your local community. Following Hurricane Maria, there was a reluctance from larger organisations to attend these community debriefs, and the perception was that they were unwilling to admit they could have handled the situation differently and learn from what went wrong. An example of a debrief I held recently was of two departments who were both dealing with a phone system issue. The first department couldn't transfer calls, which was their primary function, so they switched to evacuation mode, which rerouted the calls to another department. From the debrief, I uncovered that the second department were unhappy with this resolution because they were experiencing the same phone issues, now with double the number of calls. The result was that there are now 4 different evacuation scenarios the departments can choose from, depending on what is happening. Following Hurricane Harvey, the Council of Governments held a series of long-term recovery workshops to connect local leaders with available federal, state and philanthropic resources. These events were focused on long-term recovery and preparing communities and their stakeholders to take advantage of opportunities in the coming years. The workshops provided a helpful vehicle for the local regional, state, national and federal stakeholders to learn from each other. If you would like to learn more about initiatives in your area, get in touch with your local recovery office. Organisational resilience is more than the plans you have in place or the resources you have available, although these certainly help. It's about having a culture where everybody learns from events and continuously improves processes. A culture where stories are shared and people understand other people's roles and their contribution to the bigger picture. If you are concerned about your organisational resilience, a good place to start is with a business continuity plan. I have created this resilience framework to help organisations determine where they are on the scale from unprepared to resilient. And this is the roadmap that outlines the process for increasing your organisational resilience, starting with recording, which is the stage where you write your plan. Respond is when you use your plan either in a real incident or an exercise and record the findings. Recover is more about the benefits your organisation will receive from having a robust plan in place, which could be reduced downtime, increased customer confidence, and potentially become an industry leader if you are the best prepared. Now I am going to show you a 2-minute demonstration of BCP Builder. Thank you for watching this video demonstration of BCP Builder's online business continuity plan template. Using BCP Builder's new template will allow you to record your organization's key processes and activities, respond effectively, and recover quickly. This template will hold all your business critical information in one secure cloud-based location. So when you need to activate your plan for any reason, you will have immediate access to your information and your staff will know what to do. There are 13 tabs at the top, so you can easily navigate to different sections of your plan. You can complete these in any order you like and return to update details at a later stage. There are tabs for service providers, suppliers and key clients, where you can list contact details and any other information you would like to include, such as important contracts. The Business Impact Analysis is a place to record your key products and services in order of priority. The Risk and Threat Assessment should be used to identify potential threats to your organisation and can be a supplement to an existing risk register. The Incident Response Procedures are where you record how you would like your business to respond to any scenario. BCP Builder includes suggested procedures and entries which should be tailored to suit your business. The final tab is Appendices, where you can upload any attachments you would like to include with your plan. When you have finished working on your plan, you need to click Save Plan. This will take you to the print view where you can download your plan as a PDF to save or share. When you are ready to edit your plan again, you simply click on Edit Plan to return to the Edit view. Thank you for taking the time to watch this presentation. If you would like any more information, please visit bcpbuilder.com and contact me.